Hi everyone, welcome to Lola and Friends
Hey Sam,
episode 2. Hi
hi,
Nyla.
how are you?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm today. I'm well. It
Okay. It's 9 p.m. now in the US, right? It's
is.
Saturday. It's
Mhm.
still start Saturday. Yeah. It's already Monday in here.
Oh wow, the time is crazy.
Okay, okay. Welcome, guys, to Lola and Friends episode 2. We are going to talk about hashtag Black Lives Matter movement with my special guest from San Francisco, Naila Dean. Thank you for joining me today
Thank you
for
for
this serious topic. I can say it. uh, so maybe Naila, before we start, maybe you can introduce yourself first to the viewers.
Yeah, of
Have a
course.
floor. You may have a floor.
Yes. I'm a lawyer. I do immigration law. And I'm also a writer. So I've been writing mainly these days on love and marriage in the Muslim American community.
Oh,
Mhm. Um,
nice.
The last article that I did write was about being a Black American Muslim woman, noticing how the Muslim community is reacting to recent
Mm.
events with the murder of George Floyd. And so I was able to comment on that. It's usually not a topic that I usually write about, but
Mm.
as it's relevant in this time and I have personal experience in that area, I decided to write on that.
Yeah.
Um, and alhamdulillah, it's been really well received so far by Muslims and non-Muslims alike. So yeah.
Oh, okay. That's nice. That's cool. I'm curious about the Muslim marriage. Oh, we
Hmm.
can talk about this in the next section, maybe in the future. Okay. So, guys, actually, we've never met, right, Naila? In fact, we just knew each other about a week ago through Instagram, right?
Right.
Through from a friend. So Ariana, if you're watching this, I would want to say thank you for giving me Naila Instagram. Thank you very much. Let's meet like three of us somewhere someday, and
Yeah,
talk about a lot of things. That will be fun.
it would.
Okay. Okay. Maybe without further ado, we can just start. Uh, as I said before, that we're going to talk about hashtag Black Lives Matter movement. I know it's a serious topic, but hang in there. It would be interesting, I guess. So, it started with a video of police brutality, right, in the U.S. Ended up killing George Floyd, a black man, and the internet did things and it spread all over the world, right? So maybe you can explain to us or tell us what is actually going on. What is hashtag Black Lives Matter?
Yeah, so the Black Lives Matter movement started back years ago in 2012, 2013, around
2012.
around the killing of Trayvon Martin. And soon after his murder, George Zimmerman was acquitted, was free of all charges in court. There was that hashtag that went around, Black Lives Matter, and that's what really got it going about just placing emphasis on that there was injustice done, and then that it continues to happen, and it's been happening for a long time, of
Mm,
brutality against Black Americans in the U.S. and people of color in general, but particularly of Black men, usually unarmed, and also women as well. But it's continued, in every instance of a murder that comes up. This kind of movement has been spawned to like protect and continue to advocate for changes to how the police are handling these situations,
this
um,
vision.
to bring attention around the unlawful the deaths of Black
Yeah.
Americans.
I heard it's already like 400 years problem. Yeah, in the America, I don't know. I saw it somewhere in the news that they said it's already 400 years old problem. Is that true? Like, oh my God, that's old.
So I never claim to be an expert like in this area, but you know how Black people are viewed in the U.S. is has always been bad. We have a really intense history of slavery here, and from that it's continued. The treatment of Black people has been bad even after the Civil War when slavery when was abolished. There continued to be really intense laws that were infringing on the rights of Black Americans and treating them like second class, treating us like second class.
Second class. Yeah,
And
it's so bad. I watched the video actually, and it's so hard to see. Like, oh my God, like what the hell are going on? Why they were like kneeling him like that? If even though he's already told them that he can't breathe, right? And the police like don't even care. Like, okay, so like this 9 minute, almost 9 minute video, right? And what do you think? Why it's now? You said before that this movement is already there. It was already there. It's since 2012, but now it's becoming like huge, like very huge, I guess, in the U.S. itself and also in the entire globe, I guess, right? What do you think happened now?
yeah, I think right now it's a very interesting time because everyone is trapped in their homes, number one, because of COVID.
It's true.
Mm, yeah,
It's true.
a lot of people are paying attention to the news and they're paying attention to their social media and they're constantly tuning into what's going on. And I think right now it's just a good opportunity for people to pay attention. And with the video of watching the murder, people are able to see clearly that there was a wrongdoing, of that there was a killing, and it wasn't ambiguous. And maybe some previous times it wasn't caught on a killing wasn't caught on film in the same way, and it's kind of a he said, she said kind of situation. But here it was very, very clear that, it was unnecessary police brutality. And so, the mix of the situation of the COVID plus, being a home
Yeah.
video footage, I think it really hit home this time.
Yeah. And I knew that this is it keeps spreading. Even the protester. I mean, it's not only happening in the U.S. I saw it in the news that in Sao Paulo, Berlin, London, Paris, Toronto, they are all protesting about the social injustice, especially racism to the people with color. And what I think, no, I don't know, but I think this is not only American problem. Like it's a global. It's in there, right? We just don't know. We just maybe we're not aware about that. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's hitting other countries hard as well too, because racism is something that's entrenched in all cultures everywhere.
Yeah, yeah,
Because of colonialism, where have been taught that darker colored skin is bad, or it's not as fared upon, and the history of slavery, it's constant and within different countries all over the world. So finally people are able to say, like, look, we're tired of this. We're tired of being treated like lesser than. We want to have new social reform. We want changes, and just here the protests in the US, I think other countries, they want a chance to be able to show the people in charge, change the culture generally with the people around them as well. So yeah.
yeah. And do you think? I mean, George Floyd is not the only person who get the police brutality in the U.S., right?
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think like in regard to law, maybe I don't know in the American law, is it okay? I mean, I don't know why they treat. We know that police is supposed to like to be make people safe, right? But in the U, I don't know what happened in the U.S. I think I don't know. Maybe it also regards to your law or something, or maybe they just because these people only black color and then it's not white, so we can treat him or her like anything we want, right? And George Floyd is not the only person, right?
Right. Yeah, the police, I haven't, like I said, I haven't studied the whole history of the police, but what I've been told was that, police, the creation of them had stemmed from when they were trying to keep slaves from running away and
Oh.
slaves. So there, I'm not sure completely the whole history, but that the system of how the police are made up and who monitors them, who keeps track of any abuses that individual officers, end up making against, against citizens. It's not tracked well. And they get away with a lot of different things because the oversight it's not good, not centralized. So right now we're seeing
Mm.
asking for reform on this area. They're asking
From
for the money to be taken away from these police, from the police in general in different cities and across the U.S. They want the money shifted from police to maybe social workers or other people that have the ability to do the things that the police normally would do. It is controversial still. People are trying to figure out what that would look like if we have
mm.
less. But it's been pretty consistent that we have treated Black people of color differently, and I think that the racism within the police culture, it's so entrenched that something drastic like taking away so much money from them, or giving them less,
Whoa.
probably done, because nothing else has changed. It's been all of these years, and people are asking culture change, and it's not happening. Yeah. So yeah.
It's not only happen in police, right? In not police area. I mean, it's also happen in the health services something. And then is it true? Like in the U.S., people with color will be treated differently in terms of medical treatment. I saw
Yeah.
it in the news.
Yeah, that's
That's bad.
correct. There's a lot of reports that the number of people dying from COVID, that
Mm.
are or people of color is much higher than white folks here, because we generally have always are treated as not as important, not as priority. Maybe they'll have to they'll
Mm.
a waiting room. They won't get tested easily. They might they just get passed over generally. Whereas if it's like, some, say a white child that comes in, brought in, immediately get tested, their complaints about feeling ill are more
Yeah.
tended to than the Black child. And so those are really consistent, and the data is there to back it up, that the deaths are much higher for people of color during COVID than other times.
And you just published an article, right? Congratulations. You just published an article on Insider. I've read your article, and it actually shocked me, because I never knew that even in Muslim community in America, you also had this kind of experience racism. And you wrote on your article that your experience on racism in the American Muslim community was not unique. Does it mean that your experience, you're not the only one? I mean, you're not the only one in the American Muslim community that got treated injustice, like treated differently to the other Muslim. Can you please tell us more detail about your article and your experience?
Yes. But when I was writing the article, I made sure to communicate with my friends that are either Sudanese American, or they're, African American Muslim, and to see if they felt the same way. And it was true, that generally, if you're of a darker skin, if you're from an African country, or you're African American Muslim, that you have been treated in some different way over the course of your life within Muslim spaces. So for me, the examples were, going to a new mosque and people not knowing me and thinking that, I'm a new convert, because they asked me like, oh, are you Somali? Are you Sudanese? And then when I say no, America, my parents are American, they converted, they automatically think that I don't know, certain things. I don't know basic things within our tradition, where, and so then it made me to be more cautious about how I present myself, how I'm saying my name with, you know, Arabic accent or not, and those types of things. Then, you
Arabic
know,
accent.
the things that keeps coming up also within writing my book and talking with other people, other women of color, you know, within our community, is how much like ethnocentricity and racism plays into the marriage
Ethnocentric.
process. You know, looking for potentials. Maybe a matchmaking, like auntie will say, I only have, you know, an Arab man looking for other Arab women, or
That's also happened in Indonesia, actually.
yeah, something South Asian, only looking for South Asian. So that, you know, that comes up so regularly, and it's not just about the difference of culture, because we're really talking about Egyptian American men and women, or you know, South Asian American women and men. And, you know, our overlapping culture is being American. So you know, the only difference is the skin color, really, at the end of the day. And I mean, that's the biggest difference I see. And so the racism there plays a huge part in the marriage process, I see. And then also, when I did further research, speaking with other people, I've heard that, you know, South Asians, they sometimes use derogatory terms like kalu or kala to refer to Black people. It's not a good term to use. Same thing with a lot of
What do they call black
it,
people here?
uh, kalu or kala. Um,
Alu?
Yeah, it's a bad term, that shouldn't be used. Also, in Arabic, abid is referring to slave. That's
But
another
why
term.
they decided to call you like that? I mean, why?
Yeah, so it's something that is deeper within the culture. Like from back home, they're used to using those terms. They
Ah,
years and years ago, and it's still stuck with them, even when they moved to the US and they learned, you know, what things were proper or not. It's still stuck within the culture, within the language, and so it's something younger generation, like my friends, people, millennials, are trying to get the older generations to realize it's not good. But then we also hear sometimes some people in the younger generation are still using those terms, in
mm,
and so that's another example of how it's, you know, like Black people are like looked down upon and within these cultures. But what the most important thing within the article that I hope to show, for especially non-Muslims, is that it's not part of Islamic tradition to be racist or ethnocentric, or have colorism taint you, because we have so many prophetic teachings and verses in the Quran about how, you know, Allah made us of different nations and different colors, different types of people, so we can learn from each other, know each other, and even, you know, marry within these groups. So it's important that we recognize our problems and we try to move forward and get rid of those traditions that are have, you know, remnants of racism, colonialism, colorism, all before Islam really came about in those parts of the world, in South Asia
yeah,
and
and it's not in an easy way to change people's mind, right? It's
right.
because it's happened like centuries ago. So it's so hard. It will be a very hard tough for like people with the color to speak up, right? Maybe this is just a beginning, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, do you think so? Yeah. So, what is the current situation in the U.S. right now? Are they still protesting on the street? Like, because we know that this COVID-19 is still there, and the U.S. Is so bad. I mean, they're currently number one, right? So, what is the current situation, and how the government react, especially maybe your president? Yeah, you can tell us.
Yeah. Yeah, so there are still protests. I think they're starting to quiet down a little bit in terms of, you know, they're not getting as violent as they have been, and the curfews have been taken off, like because of
Oh,
some cities, the mayors said that you have to go home at 8 p.m. So we're seeing a lot of
mm.
Here in the Bay Area where I am, I have seen that there's there's still some protests, but it's more peaceful. People are, you know, gathering during the daytime. And I've even seen some, you know, prayer kind of protests where people are just going and, you know, doing speeches and doing collective prayers. Like I've seen the Muslims do that here. I think that, you know, overall, the conversation starting to shift to people in our Congress. They're addressing the issues. I think they're starting to try to formulate bills and proposals to you know, have the changes within, you know, the system, within the law regarding police, defunding of the police possibly, or, you know, and addressing what happens if there's police officers that continue to make abuses, you know, and unwarranted killings, using unwarranted force. So I think that it's shifting that way. Yeah, you know, I hardly pay attention to what Trump says because everything that he says helps that he's so I can't even tell you what the last thing that he has said because I know it's not helpful.
He was in the bunker, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Getting ready for the rally, yeah, idea because he's never helped.
Yeah, I understand you. Okay, okay. So maybe we still have a time actually, but maybe you can like if you have any like words to say to my viewers or to all over, because I will post them on YouTube, so you can tell something to us, or you may have a floor.
Yeah, I do see one question on here.
Yeah.
Does social media on you? What would you give a tad bit of views in regards to this kind of issue? Social media. So I'm actually new to Instagram because I really don't like social media. It's not something that I really care for. Twitter, I'm new to Twitter as well, so feel free to follow me on there. I'm trying to get more, write more articles to support the book that I'm writing. So that's why I'm.
So you're writing a book now?
Yes.
Well, what is it all about?
So that's about the Muslim dating world in the U.S.
Oh, okay.
That, so yeah, writing more articles to support that. But I don't know if the person who wrote the question is talking about social media in regards to the movement, Black Lives Matter. For sure, I think social media plays a great impact on how we are able to get our protests out there, how we're able to communicate with each other, to ask for different changes and reform within our country. And the conversations like that even you and I are having are really, really important. And social media does allow us to do that. So I think it has its own place, and it's great if it's utilized properly. So I'm happy to use in that regard.
Yeah, it's true. And I do hope that this talk now about this topic would be making me or the people watching this more aware about the social injustice, especially racism that happens around them, and take action on it. Because we have to, right? We have to. So because this is not only American problem, but it's all in global. It's happened everywhere, like literally everywhere. So.
What is it like in Indonesia, if I might ask, put you on this? What do you do?
In Indonesia, our Black community is not really that big, but we have this kind of we are very diverse, you know. So we have this Malay races, and we have races in the east of Indonesia, and I think that they also treated differently in Indonesia. It's just like, I don't know since when it happened, but it's just like that. But some government already like they wanted to give them more scholarship than the one in the West. So it's actually the good part of and the government do something like that. But I guess within the society, it's still like that. Like you said before, like in Indonesia, we also have like, you must marry someone from your race, not from another races. So it's happened like that. I don't know since when, but it's already in the culture, I guess. So it's
Mm.
yeah. And we also my friend just remind me that don't forget Chinese Indonesian. We also have Chinese people in here, and they get treated badly, I guess, in here, Indonesia.
Oh
Like,
wow.
are you from China? Or yeah, we have this, we have this. So this is not only American problem; it happens everywhere in the world, I guess. And thank you, Naila. Thank you. Do you have any word to say?
No, I just thank you for allowing me to be here, and you know, hopefully you can speak again in the future. I enjoy talking.
Sure, sure, sure. Yeah, thank you for joining me. Maybe I can contact you about the marriage thing, like Muslim dating. It will be interesting.
Of course.
Okay, okay. We still have time, but actually maybe it's already there. We already discussed everything. Maybe if someone wants to ask, you can put DM on Naila. I already put the name on the my Instagram, so people can DM you. Ah, there is one question from my brother-in-law. Yeah. Can you share your opinion about this movement? And as we know, you're going to have an election. It's regard on election next. Yeah, I was about to ask you about this, but I forget. Maybe you can tell.
Yeah, I think it's definitely helpful in getting a Democrat in office and getting, you know, Joe Biden in office. You know, the fact that all of this insanity is happening under Trump right now, it's a positive thing for us, for the Democrats, to be able to get someone new in the office.
Someone new.
It's looking, you know, more positive. That this a level of, you know, just all of everything, that the problems that have been happening, COVID plus, you know, the murder, and people waking up and realizing that the current government, it had, you know, there's so many problems with the current government and not being able to address these issues fast enough. I think it's going to help us to be able to get him out of office soon. So we're all praying, you know, positive things are happening for the November election, but who knows? Everything is always so uncertain here.
It's still in November 11 and November, right? It's on November.
It should be November.
Uh,
We'll see
okay,
though.
so there will be some March campaign, no?
March?
Like campaign of the president.
So right now they have been campaigning, yes.
Uh,
And you know, yeah, we're just waiting for November basically to see how we're gonna, if COVID is gonna affect the way that we vote at the polls. So
I hope it affect. I do hope that this will affect and change people in the office. Yay. Okay. Thank you, Naila. I guess there's no question anymore, right? There is no other question.
I think that's
Okay. Okay, that's good. Well, we already finished. Thank you, Naila, for accepting as a guest in my live IG, and I hope that in the future we're going to talk about that
yeah.
somewhere something. And I hope that we can meet like to face somewhere, like maybe in
Yeah.
the US or in the Indonesia, whatever. And thank you for everyone watching this. Don't forget, tomorrow we still have, not tomorrow, next week, we still have a episode coming up next week. So stay tuned. Have a good day, everyone. Have a good day, Naila. And thank you. And forgive me if I said something wrong or made some mistake. Goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.